7:32. Boy, that flew by, didn't it?
It did. It's going fast.
Dr. Wedlake is always in on the second Thursday of the month.
Yes, sir.
This is about the latest it's ever been. That's what I was telling Amy before.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I think this is the second one. It's the 13th, but time is...
Was the first on a Friday or something?
Yeah.
Was it?
Saturday.
Yeah, it's been one of those weird months.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, we mentioned it's going to be a nice weekend. People get out and about. It's going to be a little warmer, but that's healthy, isn't it? Right
Yeah,
now?
absolutely. Get out and shop local and support your local small businesses. It'll be a great weekend for it.
Your city councilor.
That's
hey, you had an off Monday. I was happy for you guys.
We did. I was happy too.
Because that hasn't been the case here lately. You guys have had, and we have the mayor on. Will Joyce is on with us on Mondays, and so he's in early in the morning, and I see him at night.
He gets
sometimes.
at both barrels on Mondays.
Yeah,
early
well, y'all
do.
do.
Yeah, early in the morning, and then sometimes late at night.
But I hope everybody appreciates the extra time and effort and stress, because everybody wants to do it right, and I think we are blessed with. I really do believe this. We have, I think, a great council and leadership.
I hope you're right, Steve.
Well, we have a diverse group.
Yeah.
I mean,
we've got a lot of bases covered on the council right now. We've got our mayor, Will Joyce, who's a lawyer by trade, which automatically means he's the smartest of the group. We have myself, medical doctor, which means I'm the biggest idiot in the room. We have Pat Darlington, who's a clinical psychologist. We have Elaine Zanotti, who is a business entrepreneur, business owner, and education at Meridian. And then you have Amy Jalowski, who is basically a city planner, who knows more about city planning and how cities work than I think the other four of us combined. So it's
and when you add Chief McNichol in there, who's been was the chief police for decades, and he knows that, and besides, such a good guy. I mean, I've known him for 25 years, I guess.
Oh yeah,
and
he keeps everything running for sure. Thank goodness.
Anyway, it's appreciated. Yeah. What all you guys do is so appreciated. One thing that we are going to dive into some of the other aspects, but you kind of wanted to follow your own lead and do some citing here, because you said when we hear information, you want specifics. Where did you get that?
Yeah, so I just not 5 minutes ago said, when anybody, especially a person of authority or seeming authority, says some claim about really anything, but in this case COVID, the first question is to where did you get that information? What is your citation? So I said that there have been multiple randomized controlled trials showing that hydroxychloroquine was not an effective treatment, either for post-exposure or pre-exposure prophylaxis. So I'm going to cite these references here. So in the New England Journal of Medicine, July 3rd, there was a randomized controlled trial looking at the benefit of pre-exposure prophylaxis with hydroxychloroquine. Now, that citation is July 3rd in the New England Journal of Medicine. The second one was the biggest trial to date, called the Recovery Trial, and you can probably find it online just by typing in Recovery Trial, RECOVERY, and that was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. The study group in that trial was 4,674 patients. It was a double-blind and randomized controlled trial, so basically the highest level of evidence we have in medicine or in science. And then the third one was another New England Journal of Medicine study published just recently, July 3rd, that looked at hydroxychloroquine plus azithromycin versus hydroxychloroquine by itself versus a placebo to see if these were effective post-exposure treatments. And the gist of that study was that neither of the treatment groups were better than the control group. In other words, it didn't do any better than giving the person a sugar pill. So,
very good. So there's your citations.
So those are your citations for you.
There you go. So, Amy, you guys wanted to talk about migraines. You said we can also dive into the regular business. I asked them during the break. I said, so how are things going? And they're kind of getting back to normal in the office anyway, with the procedures we're following, right?
We are. We have pretty much returned to a full schedule every day. We had a couple new migraine abortive therapies come out about March or February was the first one that came out, and another one came out in March. They're along the lines of the injectable preventable medications that came out about 2 years ago, and those three are Ajovy, Emgality, and Amavig. They're called a CGRP antagonist, which is a calcitonin gene-related peptide receptor inhibitor, which blocks a protein that is thought to cause migraines. Okay, so these two came out. They're an oral medication that you take when you have a migraine. The first one that came out was Ubrevely. It was a medication that you take orally when you have a migraine. They have 2 different doses of that, and you can repeat that dose after 2 hours. Okay, you can take that up to 3 times a week. Okay, taking it more often than that can actually lead to rebound headaches, which is a whole different ball game. We don't want to get into those. And then the second one that came out was Nertec. It's dissolvable on your tongue, which is good for a lot of people that suffer with migraines, have a lot of nausea, so you don't have to drink or eat anything with it. You can just stick it on your tongue and let it dissolve. It starts working within about 15 minutes, and that one you don't redose at all. It's good for the whole day and is working up to 48 hours.
Very good. Have I ever asked you this? Because, John, you indicated that the migraine is also, we don't understand what it is sometimes, because you think it's gender specific with more women, and it may be more women, but it's also not just a painful headache sometimes. It can be a number of different things.
Right, yeah, so the sexual bias in that is more likely a reporting bias. Men aren't as willing, I guess is the word, to go to their doctor or to seek help for something like headaches. They generally, tend to barrel through, whereas women are much more apt to report that. So some of that is reporting bias. But with the symptoms of migraine is such a what we call heterogeneous disease. It can present with a multitude of different symptoms.
And you, if I remember right, you suffer from migraine.
I do. Fortunately, I don't suffer from them very often. Mine are pretty infrequent. When I get one, they're usually pretty severe. But yeah, headache is one symptom, or can be one symptom of a migraine, but it is not a required symptom. And in fact, a lot of people are surprised to hear that the word migraine has nothing to do with the word headache. Calling it a migraine has nothing to do with how severe the headache is, or even if there's a headache present. We have patients that come into our clinic all the time that have terrible migraines without having headaches at all, so-called acephalgic migraines. So migraine's a pretty complicated thing.
Is there something that prompts them?
So there is usually a trigger. There's usually some kind of trigger, whether that trigger be environmental, whether it be internal, whether it be dietary, whatever.
But not necessarily stress or anything like that.
Stress is something that can be its own independent trigger, and more to the point, stress letdown is a bigger trigger than stress itself. So in other words, a lot of times chronic migraineurs will get migraines the first couple of days after they start, the first couple of days of vacation, because you've kind of been at this level for so long, and then you go on vacation and that stressor is removed. Well, that letdown of stress is actually a bigger trigger than if you just kept your stress level high all the time. Those at work, if you've been gearing up for a big deadline for weeks and weeks on end, and then finally you hit that deadline, and the day after you're like, oh, I'm done. That's the time that migraines tend to hit you.
Really?
So yeah.
I'd never even heard that phrase before.
So like after our meeting today, because I know you get amped up for our meeting every second Thursday of the month, you probably have a terrible migraine tomorrow, right?
I might. I don't know. I'll let you know.
Hey, call me.
You told me what the remedy was, but you can only take 2 a day.
Yeah.
I remember those things.
Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
That's it. What else we need to know, Amy? Because do you suffer from migraines?
I do actually. They're sort of frequent, but good hydration is always important. Adequate sleep definitely plays into the factors of migraines. With everybody being extra stressed, that has definitely come in to the picture. My migraine sufferers seem to be having a little tougher time recently. But it's kind of seeming like it's starting to calm down a little bit. I think people are starting to get used to what's going on in the world currently. Not that it's an easy time, but it's kind of becoming, you're accustomed to it sort of a little bit more, unfortunately. Hopefully our new normal isn't going to stay this way forever. Hopefully things will sort of go back to normal soon.
They will. It's just patience is hard.
It is.
So if you want any more information, or if this kind of rings a bell with you, what step do they need to take if you've been suffering migraines? And like John said, and you just don't think it's something you need to go to the doctor about, but you do.
Yeah. Well, I would tell anybody out there that if they have, questions about maybe they've got symptoms going on with them that they can't explain, or new things that they're feeling that don't feel quite right, it's never a bad idea to get checked out by your doctor, whether that be your primary care physician, whether that be us as the specialists. Primary care physicians are always a great place to go. They're the front lines of your care, as your family doctor, your internist, or whatever. You can come to us directly. Most insurances are not going to require a referral. Again, that's all insurance based, but for us, you can give us a call directly. Our number is area code 405-533-2060. You can visit us on the web at stillwaterneurology.com, and we're always available for questions or appointment if you need one.
Very good. Hey, school's starting in Stillwater the 20th.
Oh man.
Woo. Where are you on that? And by the way, we'll probably have Dr. Moore in again next week. We had him in last week. I talked to Terry McCarty, who's superintendent of Perry. He was in with us a couple of days ago, and they start today. So good luck to the folks at Perry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other schools have too. And this is a time we're all feeling our way, and everybody has the different anxieties along the way.
Sure.
So where are you on this?
So I have a very strong opinion on this, and my opinion on this is that I'm glad I am not elected to the school board.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Mine too.
The not
school
you.
Board, you'd be fine on the school board.
Well, I barely hold down the council right now, but no, I think that the school board has done a fantastic job in weighing a lot of the pros and cons of this. And like you said earlier, none of these decisions are easy, and honestly, none of us really know what we're doing. I mean,
nothing's clear.
Nothing's clear, and so what you do is if you're responsible, you take all of the available data, crunch that data, and come out with some kind of assessment based on the information that's available to you. And I think the school board's done a really good job of that. I know Dr. Moore has been working tirelessly through this whole thing, really looking at what are our options here, what are the ramifications of these decisions, and I think they've done a good job. As far as the parameters for closing down school, I think it's as good as any. You've got to watch the local numbers and how those are going up or down, what that trend is, in order to make a decision for that time. It's very difficult, with as fluid as everything is right now, to make a decision for 1 month from now, for 2 months from now. In fact, it's darn near impossible. Yeah. And so being vigilant on what those numbers are, I was actually pretty happy with what the school board came up with. And looking at, okay, if we hit this number in real time, that's the time that we say, we're gonna go to a distance learning situation. So I think that's a good way to do it.
And you can go online, you can go to the News Press, or you can go to the Pioneer website, and they have that chart on there.
Yeah.
And it's color coded and everything, and I don't envy the teachers at all, because they've got to learn to do. You got to prepare and have Plan B and C and D.
Right, and that's a really good point too. It's real easy for me to sit up here and say things that I have very little knowledge of, but the teachers are the heroes at this point in the story. I think that nurses and doctors and we were on the front lines very early in this thing, and not that we're still not that nurses aren't out there risking their lives every day, but come August 20th, the teachers take the spotlight on that.
There you go. So, Amy, you have kids in school too.
I do. I think this is going to come down to a personal decision for each family to see what is best for them.
Right.
I think it kind of comes down to the age group of the kids, maybe a little bit, because I think it's kind of hard for those younger age group to really learn online. But,
I think you make a good point. Hopefully, and I'm not in that world right now, but hopefully the shaming has gone to the wayside, right, where just because you think this one, well, I'm going to show you how you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's an individual choice.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's never a good place for that, for shaming or making somebody feel bad for something they're doing. There is a place for education. There is a time and a place to educate people, but it should never be done in a contemporaneous way. Yeah. That's never required.
Well said. So, do we miss anything? There's a lot to cover.
I
Yeah.
think we did good.
Yeah.
It went smooth. I have no migraine or anything now.
Just wait till tomorrow.
I think I'm blessed. I don't really have that issue too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. You are blessed. Migraine's a pretty common thing. So, the people that don't have it, they can count themselves among the lucky.
The one thing that Amy mentioned a minute ago, which seems like it falls into everything almost, is hydration and sleep.
Mm-hmm. All facets
Yeah.
of
It
life.
really
right?
does.
Yeah. Yep.
And so if we take care of some of those needs, then
See, being a doctor is easy. Get enough sleep, diet, exercise. And
So you think I
I'm
can
pretty
fake
much
it for
done
a
here.
day?
Yeah. Send you the bill.
are you sleeping enough? So, hey, thanks for coming in and hanging
Hey, you
out.
bet. Thanks, Steve.
Stillwater Neurology, check it out. You can go online, and you'll be back here in a few weeks, if
weeks.
not before. And you
Yep.
have my number, and so I haven't talked to you in a little while. So,
Yep.
and again, thanks for all that you're doing with the City Council.
You bet.
So,
Thank you,
and they
Steve.
meet again next Monday.